People are talking about a specific moment of Jimin and JK in a car during their new reality show. We also have some pictures that people have been sort of sexualizing of V and what's going on with that. And we have a cryptic message that we definitely have to talk about. So dumplings, it's safe to say, let's get into it. This message and everything I'm about to say right now and going forward is very serious, and I want to take it as it being serious, and I hope that people will listen. And it's not just something that involves the person that I am talking about today, but it involves every person watching and even the people around you. We actually might be early to save someone's life, and specifically a very famous idol. And this is very important to hear. If you are not aware, Bam Bam from GOT7 has been promoting his new release. This got the community very excited, and people were all around very happy to see that he was releasing something new. But there was a cryptic message that shocked everyone when he posted it on his Instagram, basically saying something along the lines of him not wanting to be around anymore. Him saying something like he wants to go to sleep and never wake up again, and then even specifically writing a date in which it seemed like he could potentially want to end his life. Because it's not like he is saying 2024 or this year or right now. He specifically wrote 2025. That's concerning on many levels. When I first saw this, I was a bit confused. I was thinking, what, is he promoting something? Is it like a publicity stunt or something? But then I quickly realized that it seemed to be a lot more real and less like media play. There were a lot of people who got very angry, and specifically very angry at the label for saying that the label doesn't really care about his mental health. Now, first and foremost, a label would not care about any particular person or artist's mental health. It's not necessarily their job, although they will have the resources available if the artist chooses to use those resources. However, the label can't force an artist to go to therapy or take care of themselves. For example, a label can't force an idol to eat a certain food if that food is what's helping them feel better mentally and physically. The label can only suggest to do that, and the idol still has to do it themselves. This is 2024. This is not the same as how K-pop idols were treated back in the past, where the label controlled every tiny little thing about what the idol does. This is also Bam Bam's more veteran years. He's been in the industry for over a decade now, so the label really can't control what he does. So it is first and foremost the job of the celebrity to take care of their own mental health before releasing an album or before going on tour. And I say this not to be mean, but I say this because a label wouldn't know what the mental health of an artist is. The label tends to think of course for themselves, and they tend to think, oh, we're trying to make a lot of money, but also thinking for the artist too. They typically assume that an artist would want to work and make a lot of money too, would want to tour, would want to have a busy schedule. And anyone who's watching who is maybe an artist can probably attest to this. Like, you would love to be busy. You probably love to have a full schedule. Now, there's another topic which we have to touch upon here, which is this idea of depression, which likely could be what Bam has. Depression is a very different thing, and depression is scary when the artist could potentially not be getting help for it. When someone tweeted at him to basically say to surround himself with only good people, his response was something along the lines of the people around him are the reason why he is feeling this way or feeling like he's dying. This is cryptic on many levels because we don't know if he is specifically talking about the label or if he's talking about people around him, like family, friends, or even the viewers. Now, people have jumped onto the assumption, as I was alluding earlier, which is that it's the label, and the label is the reason why. I personally don't agree with this assumption because it's an assumption that is very black and white. It's an assumption that is assuming that the label is one person. It's one person that's causing this. When a label is 50,000 different people, and he could be talking about his manager, he could be talking about an executive, he could be talking about so many different people. And so if it was the manager that he was upset with and posting about this could potentially get the label to look into what's going on. It's very cryptic and it's very scary. I think there's a lot of theories floating around, a lot of which that I have run through here right now. No one really knows what's going on fully, but hopefully it will get resolved, and I hope you send your support to him. Switching gears a little bit and talking about something a little bit more happier, because I don't know how to transition from that to what I'm talking about now, but there have been some new photos that have come out of V at the gym, and people have been freaking out about these photos, specifically one with V and Minjae. This was interesting because they had taken a photo a long time ago of both of them at the gym, and you could see that they were very slim and they had a very slimming physique. Of course, it being in the military and spending your entire morning, afternoon, and potentially even evenings just working out and eating, like maybe a more protein-heavy diet, you're gonna buff up. Something along the lines of men in the military eat like 5,000 calories per day, and they only need like 2,500 calories per day. So they're eating double, but then they're working out like crazy. And that's why a lot of people in the military, after they finish the military, and if they're still eating like how they did in the military, then they gain weight really fast because they're not exercising in the same way. So I say this because this is why when you look at V and any of the other men who've been in the military, you'll see how buff they are. And you'll notice how much bigger and fuller they look versus when they were younger or before the military, and you'll see how much thinner they were. It's also just a lot easier to be much thinner than to be buffer, because I'm sure V right now isn't really missing any meals. He's eating all his meals, he's working out. But as a K-pop idol, you might not have time to wake up at 4 in the morning every morning to do strenuous activities. You might not have time every day to eat 3 meals a day. Sometimes the schedules are so packed. Maybe you eat a little bit for breakfast, nothing for lunch most times, and then maybe like a bigger dinner. But of course, you're going to be much slimmer because you're essentially fasting every day. And this isn't even necessarily the fault of the label or the industry as a whole. It's just more so like when you're running your days, like how you do when you're a celebrity and your schedule is so packed, you want to make sure that you do everything and you want to make sure you're on time for everything. And so you tend to not even be hungry. I'm sure if there are any business owners or entrepreneurs or maybe even content creators or actors who have to go on set and have a very long day can attest to this, where there just are certain days that are more heavy and there's more things to do and you're essentially just running on adrenaline and you don't feel hungry. Of course, the community likes to look at these pictures of V and Min Jae and sexualize them a little bit, but what are you going to do about that? Because anytime that someone sees a muscular man, there are going to be people who think that it's really hot. Speaking of hot things, there have been a kissing romantic scene that has been talked about. First off, there was a scene in Are You Sure where JK was riding a motorcycle and Jimin was in a car. Jimin said that the clouds in front of JK as JK was on the motorcycle looked very beautiful. JK then said to Jimin that Jimin was very beautiful, as kind of like a funny thing to say back to him. Now, people have taken that moment to relate to a K-drama between a man and a woman where they were being romantic and cutesy with each other. The woman basically said that the flowers that the man gave her were pretty, so she could let some of the less nice things slide with the man. And then the man then replied, "You're pretty." And she goes, "Don't push it." This is supposed to be like a cute and funny moment, and then some people believe that this is what was happening right here with Jimin and JK on their show. Now, I believe when JK was on his Instagram, as well as some of the other members, like I know V did this a lot, they would post and show the stuff that they were enjoying, like watching. So the dramas or the American TV shows, they'll post it all to recommend. I don't know if this particular drama that people were connecting was a show that JK had recommended, because if it was, then the scene definitely makes a lot more sense. But if it was just a moment that happened in a drama and then it wasn't something that JK had ever watched or ever recommended, then it doesn't really make that much sense to put 2 and 2 together. Now, for this particular drama, the two lovers did end up being together and they were romantic scenes and all that sort of stuff. And so people were basically saying that this was a romantic thing, like Jimin and JK were being romantic to each other. JK was complimenting Jimin and they were just being cute. However, the way I had interpreted this moment when I saw it was that it was just kind of like a thing to say. Like when someone is like, "Oh, that looks nice," and another person might say, "Your mom looks nice." Like it's just kind of a funny thing to say when you have nothing else to say. To me, it was a joke. A lot of people like to connect these things and then say that they were probably being romantic or kissing later in the car or doing any of that sort of stuff. And this is all very much stretching because we don't actually see that or really know that for a fact if it's true or not. And the boys are very much aware if they say these things that people will, yes, of course, interpret it as fan service, but they will enjoy the show much better because there's better chemistry between the two. Even if it's not for the sake of fan service, right? Like just makes the show feel better because it feels like they actually like being with each other. And that's actually fun to watch, like when people like each other rather than two people who hate each other. That doesn't mean that they're faking their interactions, but they might elevate these interactions and these cute things for the sake of having chemistry on camera. And I don't mean romantic chemistry, just two people having chemistry with each other. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thanks, just leave a comment right here. Love you. Bye.